So, the things he grasped with both hands, a lamentation in 36 bars. It's got 36 lines. I won't read out the line numbers, but we think of this as a list poem. The breast, the baba, the bottom, the rattle with the smiling clown's face, the vertical slats of the crib when it got dark, the picture books they gave him, the cinnamon bread she baked him, the Meccano set he bought him, his ears when they argued, the handlebars, the black pony's mane, the library shelves, the door of the taxi when she left them, the telephone when she called him, his ears when she didn't, the chance to study at an American university, the Christmas cards she sent him from Rome and Vienna, the sleeves of the graduation suit that didn't quite fit, the job at the merchant bank that didn't quite suit, his head when the call came she'd died in Zurich, the telephone when he dropped it, the notice of termination he picked up at reception, his girlfriend's ears when she wouldn't listen again, the hem of her dress when he begged her forgiveness again, his ears when she wouldn't give it again, the telephone she used to call the police, the vertical bars of his cell when it got dark, the sleeves of the prison garb that were a little too long, the door of the taxi when he was released, the job at McDonald's that he just couldn't stand, the Nag's Head doorway when he couldn't stand up, the helping hand of the cop with the smiling round face, the Bible, the bottle, the Bible, the bottle, the bottle. Thank you. Living with me now in Green Dolphin Street. All deities, Blake reminds us, reside in the human breast. It must be so. And the use of the plural is noted. It did not go unremarked, for Blake chose his words with care, and it behooves us, in turn, to take them in with care. Deities, and the quotation I should pause to say comes from The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. Deities, in his world and ours, deities are populous, conflicted, and through their very human agents, they are entangled in an unseemly, seemingly eternal rivalry. Across the span of history, theirs has too often appeared to be a hardscrabble contest for our fealty, which is not quite the same thing as fidelity, or loyalty, or devotion, or meager adherence to dogma. Fealty, is that the word? Yes, that's it, fealty. The skirmishes of the deities who inhabit the overcrowded confines of the human breast are sensible, by which one means to say that they can be sensed. One can feel them corporeally. One reads their tumult on one's pulses. The push-me, pull-you of the cardinals' entreaties, the lay preacher's interdictions, the deacon's solicitations, the ascetic's supplications, the rabbi's admonitions, the pinched parishioner's wagging finger. One perceives the detonations of ordnance within the fragile bounds of the ribcage. For these are the wrong detonations. This is the wrong tumult. And so it must be said, and one ought not shrink from saying it. Is it not a great and joyful mystery that in our shapeless world with all its artifice, an earthbound deity, no mere apparition, but an embodiment who wears glasses, savors anchovies, and sometimes forgets to close the fridge door, should be living with me now in Green Dolphin Street. Is it not a great and joyful mystery that this embodiment should, through the workings of a slow but inexorable magic, the magic of human love, and through the example of a life lived thoughtfully and decently, be able to disarm all the deities, colonizing generals, and foot soldiers, one by one, lay a peaceable claim to all the interior territories, and flood this heart's chambers with all that is transcendently good, without recourse ever to dogma, persuasion, mongering, or force. Thank you.
This piece is called Crete, and it came about from a trip that I took there in 2017. It had always been a wish to see Minoan art, and studied it at university, and it was a thrill to be there. What did surprise me was the history that had taken place in between. So anyway, this is what this is going to be about. Just so you know, there is a plant called dittany, which only grows in Crete. It's an aromatic plant that grows on the mountain sides and along the gorges. So, here we go. Crete, 1941. From these skies, enemy paratroopers rain down on Malim Airport. In these sparkling waters, British troops retreat on rescue boats to Africa. On this arid earth, grizzled Cretians fight with gnarled sticks. Under these ancient trees, Nazis shoot shoot patriots already dead. Below a battered tin roof, a maiden knits her wedding dress from parachute strings. Within stone buildings, defeated Germans will insist on surrender to the British. Willkommen, Calasaresis, welcome. 2017. Under these same blue skies, tourists disembark for rented cars and buses. Beside sparkling waters, sun-starved bathers laugh in many tongues. On this dry earth, art lovers follow stony staircases and marvel at Minoan art. Under these ancient trees, machines shake branches, free olives into nets. Behind shutters, hands carve wooden penis keychains, weave red and yellow cloth. In steamy kitchens, cooks stuff tomatoes, peppers, zucchini flowers with dittany and rice. Thank you. For this one, I asked Michael if he would give me a little bit of kind of Latin, Caribbean kind of sound, right? So the poem title is Bird of Paradise, and of course it's that amazing tropical flower, right? I do wish that I had a Spanish accent for two of the lines, but I don't. And just a word about the form, it's called a pantoum, and at the time I wrote this I was exploring the pantoum form, and you'll find there's repetition, and it's not because I didn't know, it was because that's what you're supposed to do in this form. Okay. So, and it's from Cuba, from an experience there. Okay, so, Bird of Paradise. Lunch is ready, Senora. Rouses me from my incubus. The breeze cools my dewy sweat, raises arm hairs, faint scent of rotting fruit. Rouses me from my incubus. Palm fronds clatter like can-can dancers. Faint scent of rotting fruit. Tiger orange petals explode their green boat pods. Palm fronds clatter like can-can dancers. Insistent genes shoot chiseled floral arrows skyward. Orange petals explode their green-bowed pods. Hands of bananas uplift and welcome. Insistent genes shoot chiseled floral arrows skyward. Splayed, a radiant amber crown. Hands of banana uplift and welcome. Fringed leaves frolic in the wind. The breeze cools my dewy sweat, raises arm hairs. Lunch is ready, Senora.
Love it. This one's called Live Romance. Orbiting. 100 northern lights stagger southerly as strangers bedded shoulder to shoulder on 2 a.m. cooling concrete, shrink-wrapped. This ambrosial brew wets our wakeful dreams. Perspiration slips a running creek along sacrum. Lava plumbs anticipation through indigo veins. Flame sears my gut. I fashion exhaustion like a Stevie Nicks shawl. Angelic wingspan on the fringe, delicate as a needle drop. Vocal cords softly strangled in silk and longing. Docking. 11 a.m., tip of a black Sharpie tickles, takes a cruise down my wrist. I'm handed a 9 of clubs, one of the lucky ones, ×2. You're number 37 in line? Trade your card for an autographed vinyl copy. I bite the lip of the tune. Exchange, is this really happening? Trembling exhales. Stationed. Jammed against crated stacks of albums, Prince peeks seductively from his sleeve. I alternate on tiptoes behind tall and wide. 2 ceiling fans spin like hesitant whispers. Inserting gummy soft earplugs. It's going to get pretty loud in here. I think that's what the Boy Scouts yell during sound check. Floating. For the wall of nerves that paper over threadbare grace, to unleash the stress of waiting, like when the soul floats away from the body. I scream. We all scream, 100 strangers alight, through surround sound auroras, palpable thrum of shutter speed, crosshairs for Zeus and his trident. At last, eye mirrors eye behind steampunk goggles, electric bass, keyboards, drums, 6 songs. We mouth all the words through the thickness and awe. Earthbound and a half, ambient pressure. Returning to the vinyl shop 3 days later, how quickly romance becomes a memory, giving Prince a nod on Neptune's floorboards, retracing drips of neon. Very beautiful. This poem I wrote during Snowmageddon. Ray and I traveled all the way to the distant land of Salt Spring. And we holed ourselves up for about a week. All I had was my piano and my laptop to write my poems as I usually do. So while I was holed up in our bedroom, Ray would come in and bring me coffee and breakfast, and I would just be slaving away, and before I know it, it was dark again. As you know, wintertime, 4 hours of daylight, so that happens. This poem in particular, it was a painful one to write, but I needed to revisit something that happened nearly two decades ago from a safe space. So I was fortunate enough to see this work that I did in Salt Spring published in an online magazine, and it hit me that, okay, yeah, I'm ready for more. This one's called Once We Were a House on Fire on Salt Spring Island. On an indigo sky, snow-lit night, I stared across the street at a house on fire. It crackled on as I hissed razors through the smoky, plumed horizon, hoping the screams fingered someone from my past, drowning my present. A small girl tried to hold my hand for comfort, but I smacked her across our draping arbutus and cedar universe, demanded she get a grip in this abrupt dissolve of my incendiary confession, chilled by a sea breeze hush. Watching a fire isn't a team sport, even though we cluster like the Pleiades. Most of us mourn enough tears to fill a well for the fried family dog, while some of us pet our front teeth pocket, the one with the matches. You can observe a lot by watching a crowd, throat deep in its own haze, cracking whispers with each sinking step in a fresh snowbed, grief and relief necking in the dark until the fire trucks finally leave.
Beautiful. So I think I'll just read one poem. I was going to read two, but this one's the longer of the two. And the book is a combination of street photography, photographs I've taken, and this particular poem is really about a set of photographs from Paris in 2009, and all but one are taken on May Day, May 1st, 2009. So, May Day, Paris, 2009. In the Duc de Lombard, iridescent blue wall behind, the guitar, soprano sax, drum, and piano begin their quiet exploration. Delicate ethereal contact tone brush shuffling on paper-thin cymbal, restrained solo from the sax. Three women take their seats along the side banquette, laughing and talking loudly in English, order drinks. For everyone else, silence, absorption. The woman playing sax looks over at the guitar, down to the hands on the piano. The players go deeper. Sax and guitar notes twist around each other. Piano lays a web below. Outside, a dazzling light edges a storm cloud. A flaneur stands at the curb. Stone stairs invite us up. On the metro, two lovers almost kiss, holding on to each other's coats with a tender grip. In the street, a Tuareg tribesman in blue robes savors espresso, looks beyond us, waiting. A mother and daughter standing close, scan each other's faces. The daughter lovingly, the mother blessing with her admiration. In Place de la République, it's May Day. 100,000 people gather for justice, equality, fraternity. Samba band, drumming and whistling, edges through the crowd. Young child dancing, waves her arms in wild abandon. Painted tears flow down a dinner plate mask and keffiyeh, reminders of injustice many miles away. In the Perron Rouge, dozens of wine bottles line the walls. Servers drift across the room. The bartender leans back, listening thoughtfully. Now the musicians have gathered in, notes locked together, floating, dance, soaring. Three women sit silent, listen, look at each other. Thank you. Tom is kind of setting the tone here, so I'll read a love poem.
All right.
You want tunes or you
Tunes would be great, but I didn't give you any
That's okay.
hints, so, oh, here we go. This is called Medicine. When you say you love me, I feel better. This is the placebo effect. When you disagree with me, get angry, storm out of the room. This time, how easily I could have been the one. Reconsider what I said. come back, what it might mean. Come back and ask me when we both feel your heart opening and my heart opening and our breath slows. We stop watching each other, stand close, look into each other's eyes. This is the real medicine. I pick an iris from a wilting vase, hand it to you. You pour us a cup of tea. We sit on the love seat, facing each other, saying little, our bare toes entwined, like two litters of field bulls, asleep and blind.
Yeah.